Om. Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant and may we not cavil at each other. Om, peace, peace, peace unto us all. Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to all of you. We welcome all of you for the online satsang of the Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Arcadia. We are doing the Sutra Vahini, which is one of the scriptures of the Prasthana Trayam. It is on Brahma Sutras. So you know the other two is Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads. So these three are called the Prasthana Trayam. They are the guides for the spiritual seeker in their travel to the goal of liberation. So we started this Sutra Vahini. This is one of the tough texts, spiritual texts. So, but we talked about the first sutra, we already finished. We started the second sutra last time. Sutra is the aphorism. That is why sutra, aphorism. That means in a little formula like Newton's law, we say 1, 2, 3, like that. These are in a few words, the essence of great scriptural knowledge is confined. That is why they are called sutras, like Patanjali Yoga Sutras, various sutras. So in the first sutra was, who wants to volunteer? What is the first sutra? Atato Brahma Jijnasa. So after this, you will have the knowledge of the Brahman. So they are telling what the qualifications. So hope all of us have those qualifications. So summary, 4 major qualifications. One is Viveka, discrimination between the real and real. Then Vairagya, detachment from the, once you know what is unreal, you detach, go to the real. Which is real is God, Brahman, and unreal is the illusory world. So Viveka is first, discriminate, then you get renunciation, detachment, Vairagya. And then for that, you need to develop the Shamasap, the Shamadhi Dhamadhi Shat Sampati. 6 virtues. What is it? Shama, that is control of the mind. Dhamma, the control of the body and the senses. Uparati, withdrawal from this restless world. We all want to go, mind goes to outside. You need to withdraw the mind from these external distractions. And 4th is Titiksha, forbearance. That is one of the great virtues. Patience or forbearance, Swami says is good, and even Shri Avatar said Dakshina when he wanted. What did he want? Nishta and Shaburi, faith and this patience, forbearance. So that is the Titisha. And then Shraddha, complete faith. Faith in whom? Faith in the scriptures, faith in God, and faith in ourselves. And then finally the 6th one is Samadhana. To see everything as divine. Thing of equanimity, maintaining that everything is nothing but God. So, and finally, the 4th qualification is mumukshatvam, spiritual hunger, intense desire to know the truth. Till you have that, our devotion, Swami says, will be lukewarm devotion. You can, life after death, life will go on repeating. Punarapi jananam, punarapi marnam. Born, go, die. Again, born, go and die. So this is cycle of birth and death. We go on repeating forever. But one thing good though, we'll somehow or other will reach, because we came from God. There is one thing beautiful about Vedanta. We'll go back to God, whereas in some of these other Semitic religions and others, once you do something permanently, you are in hell or heaven. That doesn't look right? You don't have chance to come back. Whereas our thing says, yes, everybody, you came from God, you will go back to God. Like water, the clouds come from this ocean and then the rain goes back there. So that we need to remember. So what the source, we go back. That is why we say, what is the source? Love is the source, and love is the path, and love is the goal. So this we talked about the qualifications, what you need to develop. After this, you will have knowledge of Brahman. Then last time we talked about it, this one, Janmadhyasaha Yataha. That means from which everything is come. What is the source of this whole universe? What is the source of this existence? How does it merge? That is what we talked about, Brahman and Maya. So this knowledge, as people are telling, looks very esoteric, metaphysical. So very simply, you go back to Shirdi Satcharita. There is, remember, this story a lot of you may know, as is worthwhile again recollecting. This man, who is a wealthy man, like us, he is interested in Brahmajnana. He wants to have the knowledge of Brahman. So he goes there, he is wealthy, so he hires a nice cart, a nice vehicle, and just goes to Shirdi, goes to see Baba. So just as soon as he gets down, Baba, I want Brahmajnana. Brahma Swami says, very happy, very happy. Everybody wants to, from me, they want to come here, and they want something, oh, I have sickness, disease, health. Or somebody wants, oh, I don't know, financially I'm suffering, wealth. Or they may say, oh, I don't have children or family problems. Some help in the thing to have children, or help at work. So everybody comes. Very few people say, I want Brahmajnana. So you are the one came, I'm very happy with you. So he says, oh, Baba is very happy. He says, okay, after a few minutes, he says, Baba, give me, wait, sit down, I'm going to give it to you. Then Baba asked one of the people there, hey, go to this guy Nandulal, a Marwadi, one of the devotees, go and get 5 rupees for me. He goes there, he was not there at home. Then Baba says, go to the other guy, another Nandulal, another house. Like this, 5 houses back and forth, Baba sends. He goes there, comes back, 5 rupees. Doesn't Baba know? Baba is omniscient. He knows that those guys are not there. And so he was playing the drama. This guy is getting restless. No, I want, because he hired that carriage. The longer he waits, he has to pay more rent for that. Like you hire a taxi and go. That guy is waiting for you, and then you have to pay more and more. He says, no, Baba, please tell me the Brahmajnana. Hey, I'm trying to tell you that is what the whole thing going on. Don't you see that? That is for you, Brahmajnana. Then this goes on like that. Then Baba says, hey, do you know what is happening here? For having Brahmajnana, you have to control the 5 senses. So you have 50 times 5 in Brahman in your pocket. So because this guy he has so much money, 5 rupees, if you cannot give, he has got 250 rupees in his pocket. He says 50 times 5, Brahman is there for you. That is, he had 25 10 rupee notes in his pocket, and then he takes out, he gets really shocked that how Baba is all-knowing. He says, you can't sacrifice just 5 rupees. So how can you control 5 senses, 5 karmendriyas, 5 jnanendriyas, control the mind? So that is not that easy, boy. So he gives a whole thing about Brahmajnana. First, to do the Brahmajnana, you need to have eligibility. You just can't come and buy and go the Brahmajnana. It cannot. For that, you need a lot of sadhana, control of the 5 senses, both karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, and mind. And then when you reach that stage, then you will be, mind is still, then you will be able to, and the heart is pure, then you are eligible. He gives a whole beautiful discourse. How he says the whole ignorance is, this is referable to Brahman. To think Brahman is separate, world is separate, and Jiva is separate. That is the ignorance. And to realize everything is the same, that is the knowledge. So that is what he says. We need to develop that. And everybody who was there sitting that time hearing this beautiful story, everybody gets benefited, though it was he was telling that everybody who was there around Baba, they all heard the story. So Brahmajnana, to get that, this is a practical story. That is why this complicated Atato Brahma Jijnasa, that is the beauty of the great master like Shirdi Baba, Swami. They make the great scriptures very practical. And same thing another time, it makes Das Ganu. He could not know about Ishavasya Upanishad. Then it is another story we'll tell another time. He makes it very practical how you can learn in a day-to-day life. These Upanishads and Brahma Sutras are very tough for people to understand, but like our Swami, Shirdi Baba, Sri Ramakrishna, they make it very practical. And last week, we talked about the second sutra. What was there mainly emphasis was how everything came from Brahman, sustained in Brahman, dissolves in Brahman. And for that, the thing that is used is Maya. So like that, to make any jewelry, so you have got gold. They mix some little metal like copper or something else so that it gets tough. So similarly, in the world to project, this theory is called, there is Maya. Maya is something which doesn't exist, but which makes you deluded. You think that it's real, but it's not real. Like a classical cases we said last time, mirage. It looks like there is water, but it's not water. It looks like that. When you go there, it is no water, mirage. And same thing in the darkness, is rope looks like a snake, but really it is not a snake, but the basis is the rope. Like same thing, a lamp post, it looks like a ghost, you get scared, but it's not really a ghost, it is lamp post. So like that, it is the projection, something unreal is projected. In all these cases, why it is projected? Because of darkness. Similarly, we all have ignorance. We think what is unreal to be the real. So that's why last time I said Swami's formula, Eddi kaladani chuntimo, addi ledu. What you think exists doesn't exist. Eddi ledanu chuntimo, addi kaladu. What doesn't you think exists, it really exists. But for us, it doesn't. We see this exists. How can you say that what we don't see? But that for that, you need to have inner eye. Like Arjuna, Lord Krishna gave Jnana Chakshu. When he gave that vision of divine vision, then he could see everything as Vishnu. So last time we read that everything is Vishnumayam. Everything is pervaded by Vishnu. Some people say, oh, that means Shiva and Brahma is not there. Here we are not talking about the Trinity. In the Trinity, Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the sustainer, Shiva is the dissolution. Here, Vishnu, the etymological meaning in Sanskrit is Vishnu means something which is all pervading, the space or air, everything. So, the God who is the Paramatma, Parabrahman, is Vishnu. That means something which is all pervading. That is why I said in Vishnu Sahasranamam, say Vishwam Vishnu. The whole world, what you see is nothing but Vishnu, the all pervading reality. So that is what we say for that. But because of Maya delusion, we think that is not true. We think it is something else is true, the existing world. But what exists is only Vishnu. So that is what we talked about, Maya, and we gave the examples how Maya makes us delude. Even the greatest saints and sages, they were deluded by Maya, like Vishwamitra and all that. So we'll come back to that. So we'll continue on that from now in this sutra, starting after Vishnu, all pervading. Please go ahead, Anupa.
Sai Ram. Of course, nothing in the universe can be made without a maker. What then must be the nature of the maker of the cosmos? He must have limitless power, unbounded glory, and perfect omniscience. It is not possible for everyone to visualize such a phenomenon, though it is the very fulfillment of the purpose of each one's life. It can, however, be conceived and confirmed by two characteristics, one called Tathastha and the other Swarupa. Tathastha is the temporary time-bounded indication. It cannot confer a correct picture or view. It can only reveal signs and glimpses off and on. Swarupa means the very reality of the illumination of intuitive wisdom. It reveals the immanent and the transcendent, the limitless source of all. Every entity, article or thing in the universe has 5 qualities: Asti, Bhati, Priyam, Rupam and Namam. Asti means quote-unquote is. So isness is the feature of all that is. Bhati means shining, luminescence. The thing that is known to us is capable of being known to us because it shines. It has the power to enter our consciousness. Then we have the word Priyam. Everything is capable of being used or benefited from, and therefore becomes dear, attractive. Fondness is the meaning of Priyam. The other 2 features, Rupam and Namam, do change and can be modified. All things seem to undergo some transformation or other, and often assume again the original form. They are apparent alterations of the basic entities, which are the first 3 features always. Name and form are superimpositions on the basic reality of isness, illumination, and joy. The divine is the base. The divine will be the superstructure. The beads are many, but the interconnecting, integrating string of the rosary is one. So too, for the entire world of living being, God, the permanent, omnipresent Parabrahman, the supreme divine consciousness, is the base. Soham, he is I am that. All these axioms indicate that even those that differentiate themselves under names and forms are in fact God Himself. This is the reason why it is proclaimed in the Vedas, quote, "He who knows Brahman becomes Brahman itself." This awareness is the awareness of the reality. Will we stop here?
Yeah, please.
So, very quickly, this is the nature of Brahman that Swami is giving us directly. In the first paragraph, he's talking about 2 concepts here, Tathastha and Sarupa, and showing the difference between the 2, and saying that Sarupa is the very reality of intuitive wisdom. It's your own self, and the self is Brahman. So the word Sarupa, Swa means me, Rupa means my form, I am that. That is the essence of this. That second paragraph, those 5 qualities, Swami has given us many discourses on this actually, showing us that the first 3 is our real nature, whereas everybody is deluded by Rupam and Namam and they think it's different. But Asti, Bhati, Priyam, Asti is being, so God is. This isness is same as truth, that God is truth. God is. And Bhati, luminescence, is the shining or something that attracts your consciousness, and then Priyam is nothing but the dearness to you, attractiveness. So these 3 correspond to Sat Chit Ananda, Satchidananda. That is our real form. Rupam and Namam come and go, and Swami is saying that do not be deluded by that. You are divine, and the reason you are divine is that the first 3 things are common to everything in the creation. So this is the reason why he says at the end that Brahmavida Brahmaiva Bhavati, the one who knows Brahman becomes Brahman. So there is no difference between the knower, knowing, and the known. All 3 are the same. So this is the concept which it's very hard to practice. You can understand it, very hard to practice. Sai Ram.
Yeah, so that is why Swami says, as you think, so you become. You think you are Brahman, you will become Brahman. Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. That's why he says, goes on asserting. Last time also we took one of the mantras is, I am God, I am God, I am not different from God. I am Satchidananda, Supreme Parabrahma. So he wants us to go on asserting that. But he says, if you think you are the dust, you will become dust. You think you are the sinner. That is why in some of the Semitic religion they say, oh, I am the sinner, Lord, save me. So he says that's not good. Never say you are a sinner. You think I am, because we came from God, so we need to assert God here. But we forgot our reality. That's why the bhajan we sing, remind me, my Lord, remind me who I am. We just forgot. We forgot the reality. Just we need to remind ourselves. That is what all these spiritual practices is. Because in the whole universe, the scriptures say there is nothing but these five. There is nothing else, even if you want to investigate. What is there? Sat, Chit, Ananda. Those are the permanent thing. It is existence, knowledge, and bliss. Also called Asti Bhati Priyam. So Satchidananda, Asti Bhati Priyam. And the other two which are changing is the Nama and Rupa, the name and form. Name and form, even the avatars come and go. Krishna came and gone, Rama came and gone, Jesus came, Shirdi Baba, Sathya Sai, and we are here, we go. That is the nature. What comes, what gets birth, it has to go. That is the nature, whether it is a plant, animal, human being. So, but this underlying existence is always there. So the beautiful example they give is like the ocean. Ocean is nothing but a vast expanse of water. In that, sometimes small waves come, huge waves come. Huge waves you can think like an avatar. Sometimes little water bubbles come, foam comes. What is all that? All that is nothing but water. Similarly, this ocean of Satchidananda, we are all there. Some of us human beings, some of these great saints, some of the avatars, like little animals, plants. These are all nothing but the underlying thing is Satchidananda. But the manifestations, like in water, in ocean, some is water bubble, some is foam, some is small wave, some is big wave. Similarly, the whole universe, the manifestations will be different. Why? Because of the underlying Maya. Maya makes you project. What is not there, it makes you deluded. That is the power of Maya. What all exists is Brahman, but we are so much entangled with the power of name and form. There is a great scripture called Chandi, also called Durga Shaptasati. It is about 7. It is very powerful, where Mother shows power. Mother has the power of Maya. The whole thing we call Brahman and Maya. And another way is Shiva and Shakti. Shiva is the underlying Brahman, Jnana, and Shakti, the Mother Parvati, is the projection. So everywhere this combination of the underlying Brahman, which doesn't change, and the projection which changes. That is the whole thing. And this power of Maya, this Prakriti, that is power, Prakriti and Purusha, another different ways you call Purusha and Prakriti, Brahman and Maya, Shiva and Shakti. So these are the different ways you see the combination of the nature and the underlying principle. Because the power of delusion is so high in this particular scripture, it is said, there was a king by name Suratha. So this guy was a great king. He was a very generous, very good man. Nice, everything is good. But suddenly he was invaded by some enemies. He loses his kingdom. So not only his own people, his ministers and all that cheat him. So they, instead of helping him, they go to the opposite thing and he loses everything. So this guy was disgusted and just disappears, runs away from his kingdom and goes to a hermitage where a great sage. His name is Medhas. So he was sad. He wanted a guidance from him. And then meanwhile, he sees a businessman, merchant. That guy also was depressed. He looks sad. So he's a company. Misery loves company. Sometimes you can share misery, then it becomes happy. So then he asks, hey, why are you here? What is happening? Why you look so sad? What happened? I was very wealthy. I have money, all that. But then my wife, my children, they cheated me. For the sake of money, they threw me out and they took away all my money. So I'm thinking of this, I'm thinking about them. He says, why are you thinking? They cheated you, they stole your things and they were negative. No, my mind, I know they did is wrong, what they did is wrong, but still I love to think about them, how they are doing, what is happening. See that this is Maya, because why? Because he's attached to that family. If somebody else that he would have written off, because it is his family, he does that. And same thing, the king, Even though he was thrown out, he was thinking, what is happening to my kingdom? How are my elephants doing? How was my other members in my army? All these things. So both of these people asked, we know it is wrong because both of them were cheated and misused, but still it happens. I'm not joking. This really happens in my patients I have seen. So their children will be bad, they will be cheating, they will be abusing them, they'll do that, but still they want to do that because there is a power of Maya, their attachment to their children. So this, they ask the sage, Vedas, why are we doing this? Why? We know it's wrong, but our mind goes on going on those things, even though we know they are the one who harm. That is the power of Mahamaya. He says, Mahamaya power. Then he goes on telling how the Mahamaya takes you. Then, even though you know that it's not correct, your mind goes on going to that. Like even Mother Yashoda, who saw when he opened the mouth, he saw 14 worlds, but so many worlds, but still after a while she forgot. Oh, my little Krishna and all that. Same thing with even great sages like Vishwamitra. This power of Maya is very hard to cross. That is why Mama Maya Duratyaya. It is very difficult to cross my Maya, Lord Krishna says in Gita. But how do you conquer that? How do you go over the thing? By complete surrender, being at his feet. That is why somebody said, this guy is fishing for something, the fisherman is doing that. When he throws the net, all the fish which are far away, they will be caught in the net, right? But there are some smart fish which go underneath the feet of the fisherman. They won't be caught. Similarly, you are underneath the feet, or means surrendered to the feet of the Lord. You hold on to him, then you are safe. You are not caught by Maya. So there is a beautiful example of how you are caught outside there, but you are at his feet, nothing will happen. So that is the difference between Maya and Brahman. So when you do that, then instead of being deluded by this name and form, you are in contact with the truth, which is Asti Bhati Priyam or Satchid Ananda. So we can continue.
The bubble born of water floats in it and bursts on it to become one with it. All the visible objective worlds are like the bubbles emanating from the vast ocean of divinity, Brahman. They are on the water and are sustained by water. How else can they arise and exist? Finally, they merge and disappear in water itself. For their origination, subsistence, and mergence, they depend on water only. Water is one, bubbles are plentiful. Water is real, bubbles are appearances. Water is the basis, bubbles are delusive forms of the same imposed on it. One is struck with wonder at this wonderful manifestation. But in the ancient eras of time and in the far corners of space, from the inert, unconscious tangle of nature, the mystery of life emerged and proliferated into men and God-men. This is a fact known to all and cognizable by all. But can the low be posited as the cause of the high? The low can only be the cause of the low. We can say that the inert can at best be the cause of the mind, which also is part of the body complex, but only the divine will can be the cause of all creation, having the 5 features already mentioned. How else the complex mind arose and got established, no one can describe. The theory is that all events in the universe follow certain laws and norms. It is not always self-evident, but physics is tending to prove that it is quite feasible. The very first sutra indicates the universal supreme called Brahman. The second sutra describes the same Brahman in another form to another facet. The first lays down the truth, wisdom and freedom, Satyam, Jnanam and Swatantra. The second sutra lays down the creative aspect of Brahman and declares that the aspect cannot be limited to this particular cosmos. Should we stop here?
Yeah.
So this is again Swami's telling us about the nature of Brahman. And that the first one, he gave a very nice example, which all of us can follow easily. Like in the ocean, as Dr. D was saying, there are waves and bubbles and froth, and we come and go. So these are all the appearances, the namam and rupam. But the water below is the Satchit Ananda, that is the ease, consciousness, and the priyam, that sustains us. He gave another nice example, I think, from a discourse that it's like a movie theater. We are watching a movie, but take the screen away, the movie disappears. And when the movie stops, the screen is still there. And so it is the subsistence there that is what it is doing it. Second paragraph, he starts on the metaphysics, the real cause of the mind. And there is a beautiful book where we have all the discourses Swami gave in a particular Vrindavan session called The Mysteries of the Mind. He says that the mind is really not existent, but it is a collection of thoughts based on our body. And you take the body away, then the mind is not there anymore. But the divine will is the cause of creation, because that is, everything else has a temporary feature in it, but that is the permanent feature of it. And in the third one, this is the cause of law and effect. And we know that for every effect there is a cause, but there is one for which there is no cause. And because that is Brahman. God is, as we studied and we practiced before, Devudu Nadu, I think, that is God is. So that means that the Supreme Brahman exists, and there is no form, there is no reason, nothing. It just is. And it covers everything. Sri Ramakrishna was giving a nice story at one time. Somebody asked him, why can we not experience and measure and then try to analyze God? He said it is like this. You take your little bucket and you go to the ocean and you try to measure the ocean. And then you keep trying to measure it. Will you succeed? No. Because all of us, our minds are like that bucket. We have limitations. Brahman is Anantam. He is infinite. And you do not have the capability because he is that. There are many other stories like this, but basically Swami is saying that he is beyond the mind and you cannot, but you can appreciate him by merging with him, and you can acquire the qualities by being one with him, but you can never measure or try to analyze him or figure out what he is. So those are quick thoughts. Over to you, Sairam.
So here Swami was in the first sutra, as he was talking about what is Brahman and how to get the knowledge of the Brahman. And here he is trying to tell us, the second sutra, that what all you see is Brahman. That is the conviction. That means everything came from Brahman, sustained in Brahman, dissolves in Brahman. There is the example of water bubbles coming from water, sustained and dissolve. But there are certain theories. That is why here in Sankhya theory, Kapila, it came from Kapila Maharshi, Sankhya theory, they say what all exists is Prakriti, Pradhan, existence, just it came like that. So they don't talk about a creator, maker or anything. It came by itself. So that was not right. That is what this Badarayana, who came with this Brahma Sutras, he says, how can you think of something exists? You see a pot. How is the pot? Yeah, the pot is there. Somebody has made the pot. Without somebody making the pot, how can the pot exist? So the theory is, Badarayana says that it's not true. And there is another many theories like the Kanada, is the things, so the accumulation of all atoms came together and became the universe. So these are all the various theories, how the universe came, how the creation came. For us, it is confounding, it is going to the metaphysics. That is where Lord Buddha very nicely said, example, somebody was there, so he was shot with an arrow. And then the arrow hit him and he was in pain, he was suffering. So go and take up the arrow. Somebody said, no. Where is this arrow came from? What is the velocity of the arrow? What is the arrow made up of? Is the tip is different from the length? What is the length of the arrow? And how long? Meanwhile, you will die. You will try to investigate all that. just get out the arrow and just be saved. Similarly, a lot of people go into this metaphysical thing. The origin came, God first, the universe next. So just we are bound, we are in grief, bondage. So how to get out of this? And there is a way, just either you do the path of bhakti, you do the path of self-inquiry, path of karma. So don't go into this, like even Sri Ramakrishna said, when you go into the mango grove, a dumb person who says, oh, this tree, how many leaves we have, how many flowers there are, what will happen? The smart guy will go and pluck nice, beautiful, nice, good mango, very good and taste and eats it and enjoys, very happy. So just enjoy that. So just don't go into too much of this argumentative or causative. You need to know the underlying theory, that is Brahman, and this comes, but don't get into these things. Main thing is this, that is why called Vacha Vedanta and Anushtana Vedanta. Vedanta, which is just theory, but you should be practical. How is it good? That you all know the story, is worthwhile, right? The Mahantu and the elephant. That guy was, so he heard from his teacher, hey, everything is Brahman. There is nothing but Brahman. So don't be convinced there is nothing but Brahman. Then this guy was going on the street, and there's a huge, this wild elephant was going, and he was there, and the Mahantu was there, and this guy was there, because he just remembered, he came out of the class, everything is Brahman, that wild elephant is Brahman. Then the Mahantu, hey, get out of the way, get out of the way. Then this guy said, oh, he is Brahman. Then that elephant took the trunk, this guy threw him out, and he broke his bone. He went to his guru and said, Guruji, you said everything is Brahman, the thing, this elephant did this. Yeah, that is, elephant is Brahman, but that guy also is Brahman. Mahantu is Brahman too. He was telling you, get out. So don't be practical Vedanta. Don't, as Sri Ramakrishna said, salute the tiger Brahman from a distance. You don't go and hug, and it will swallow you. So where it is all Brahman, but what to do? Like same thing, water is water, but sewage water you don't drink. Ganges water is so sacred. So for people who are high level, everything is for them Brahman. It doesn't matter. But for us, in the duality, we need to think practical Vedanta. So just it is Brahman, but you need to use that fundamental discrimination and do that. Then really we will enjoy. Otherwise, it becomes theoretical.